we're about a month away from the release of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and one of the things I've been emphasizing a lot since this game has come out, has been announced, is that like it feels like basically everyone is trying desperately to downplay this game. Like even Sean Malmstrom, someone who has been traditionally very, very pro 2D Mario, is trying to talk down about this game, trying to like talk badly about it, saying it's not going to sell well, that this is going to be the last Switch game ever, that Nintendo is clearly moving on to the next con. Like they're doing all this nonsense, but like they are completely blind to the reality that Super Mario Bros. Wonder is going to be a phenomenally successful game. Like I would imagine it's going to sell as well or better than The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So that's going to be like upwards of like 30 million units, right? It is going to be a phenomenally successful game. But there seems to be an interesting phenomenon where the gaming establishment, journos, YouTubers, shills, like none of them really want to admit it. Like they are legit going to be blindsided by this game and its insane success. And like right now, they're trying. They're going to be baffled by it. Like what? This stuff is still so popular? Yes. 2D Mario, Super Mario Bros. Is a lot of for a lot of people is the first game they ever played ever. Yes, people care about these games a lot. And I don't know what's so complicated to like understand about that. Like why these people just can't wrap their minds around this, that this game has like a gigantic audience, you know, bigger than 3D Mario. Like they just can't like wrap their little minds around such a concept that like 2D Mario, Super Mario Bros, you know, the franchise that made the Nintendo home family computer like viable, right? The Famicom viable. Like they how this the second most popular franchise in gaming, like they are surprised that it's popular. That is insane to think about. Positively insane. It is it's just weird to think about. And this is really no different than what we saw with like New Super Mario Bros, where a lot of people really, really, really undervalued the success and popularity of those games. You know, New Super Mario Bros sold like 30 million units, and New Super Mario Bros. Wii, upon its release, was seen as like the beginning of the decline of the Wii, or at least that was the narrative. And I have to wonder, like, was the same thing true for Super Mario Land and Super Mario Land 2? Because I know Super Mario Land 1 was like hugely successful, like 18 million units sold. And I was thinking recently that like the claim that like Crash Bandicoot outsold Mario could not possibly be true, because if you account for like the Super Mario Land games, they would have had to sell more than the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Like if you combined like 64 Super Mario Land 1 and 2 and like compare them with like the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, there's no way they didn't outsell like Crash Bandicoot, right? But like I think back on that, like you know, nobody really makes the comparison. Like nobody really wants to admit the Game Boy was as successful as it was, right? People don't like admitting these kind of games are hugely successful and popular. You know, we saw like similar downplaying of games like Wii Sports and stuff like that. Like we keep like seeing this pattern where like these huge, like, you know, Pokemon is getting downplayed right now pretty heavily, right? It's a notable phenomenon where like these people obsessively go after games that like on the like look that like on a surface level look like more simplistic or primitive compared to like big AAA open world games like big open world games like Zelda. When you know actual fans, people like me, would put like Super Mario Bros. Wonder like alongside Zelda. You know, like I always have. Like I've always loved New Super Mario Bros. Wii, right? Like I've always loved New Super Mario Bros. And I have to wonder, like going into like going into Super Mario Bros. Wonder, like how much longer can this narrative last? Like realistically, because going into this, like it is like shocking to me how like how few people seem to understand how well Wonder is gonna be, how well Wonder is gonna do. Like it's being written off as like a minor release for Nintendo, like a budget game before the end of the console cycle, but like this is going to be a juggernaut. This is going to be a major release for them. And yet, like, we're still in this like weird phase where like nobody wants to admit it. Like nobody wants to admit reality that like this game is probably gonna outstrip Starfield. It's gonna outsell Elden Ring. It's gonna like stomp Baldur's Gate 3, no effort. Like it's not even gonna be close, right? And like honestly, like the way it's looking now, this might be a game of the year contender. Maybe this game is just looking spectacular. Like the more I see it, and like it's just so weird to me to see like this narrative that this game is not all that impressive looking, like just persist. When like in reality, we're seeing all this creativity, all this charm, all this passion, like Sean Malmstrom is the person I keep coming back to for this kind of thing because it's so odd. He's still stuck in that boomer mentality of like blaming like Miyamoto, Anoma, and like Sakamoto for everything at Nintendo, and like not really talking about the younger developers that have had more and more influence over the years. Like Super Mario Bros. Wonder in particular feels like a Koizumi game, right? Like it has that same kind of like charm to it. Like it reminds me a lot of like Link's Awakening and stuff like that. Like it has that kind of like weird trippy energy that he's known for. Like right now, Sean Malmstrom is like blaming Tezuka of all people. Like he's trying to find like a scapegoat to like blame for him not being excited for the game. And that is like kind of the thing I really want to emphasize going into this. Like, and I do think like the big thing that like gaming culture needs to address, like, because that's been the excuse for like the past couple of years now when it comes to games like ARMS and Tears of the Kingdom and I suppose Super Mario was Wonder. Like people legitimately seem to think that how much a game is talked about online, how many views it gets on social media, how much high the Metacritic score is, like people seem to have this idea that like any of that matters in like the grand scheme of things, like how good the game actually is and how popular it is. Like in reality, it just doesn't turn out that way. Like in reality, we've seen this like over and over and over again, particularly with Animal Crossing, where like the expectation is that like Doom Eternal is going to stomp Animal Crossing to the ground, but then like Animal Crossing turns it around and sells like legit 20 times more without like any of the discounts or like the hype that like Doom has, right? Like Animal Crossing is way bigger than Doom ever was. But like the community doesn't want to admit it because Doom has a reputation as being a hardcore franchise, right? Like they that really blindsided the community, right? I think we're going to see a similar situation here in which people are going to be baffled by the success of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, right? This is going to be a huge release. And right now, nobody, aside from me, is really talking about that at all. Like everybody is saying this thing is just gonna come and go and be completely forgotten. Just like Tears of the Kingdom, a game that sold like 20 million units already, right? Outsold Elden Ring, outsold Baldur's Gate 3, like going to be game of the year 2023. Like people legit will try and tell you that because Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is not being talked about regularly, on public forums that somehow means the game bombed. But in reality, it's just hugely successful and popular and everybody's playing it. The reality is that like people just don't talk about games incessantly on the internet, right? Like I am tired of people trying to bombard me like with misinformation, lying about games, lying about features, like hyping up stuff I don't care about, pretending games I love are bad. Like I'm tired of it. And I think the rest of the internet is tired of it too. Like more and more, I think people are like just starting their own private Discord servers, having their friends on with similar tastes, and just like spending their days just like talking about stuff that they like, stuff they're reading, stuff that they're enjoying, like indie games, like having like a real network community with no real oversight from our corporate overlords or like shills on forums. Like 10 years ago, the big thing was Twitter and social media, right? 10 years before that, it was forums and like, message boards, right? Like those things died for a reason is that forums forums became too controlling and like just had like this insane oversight from people with way too much time on their hands who didn't like you like praising certain games or talking about certain ideas. Nintendo forums would like ban you for like liking Nintendo games. It was insane. Like, um, like Twitter has like all of these people who just harass you for certain reasons. Even now, I'm not even on X, right? Like I've never been on X. I've never used like this new social media platform X, right? Like I've never used it. It's crazy how often people on there will bring up like Harmon Smith in regards to like the Nintendo community. I am seen as the only insane Nintendo fan in the world on X for some reason. I have like no I haven't made aware of that, right? So like X is like why would I care what anyone on X has to say? Like why would I care about this social media platform? Like they're just completely clueless about like the reality of the situation, the reality of like me as an individual, the reality of like Nintendo and the gaming community. Like I don't care what the Metacritic score is for games. I don't care how much the Mario movie made. I don't care like how well Baldur's Gate 3 is selling. How many like concurrent players it has on Steam. Like what I care about is like what games are best, right? Like what games I enjoy, what games I want to talk about. And more I find that like I can't do that on an open forum without being harassed, without being attacked, without being called a fanboy. And I cannot imagine that other people are not going through the same thing. There's a reason that people don't want to talk about Tears of the Kingdom in public. There's a reason we're doing it like on YouTube channels, in Discord servers, like elsewhere where you can't see it. We are tired of being told that Nintendo is inferior by people who don't know what they're talking about, right? That's what it comes down to. That's why nobody's talking about games anymore because we are tired of dealing with the nonsense. We are tired of dealing with the conspiracies, the fake leaks, the lies, right? Like, I just want to come out, talk about games that I want to talk about, and then go on and live my daily life, okay? Like Super Mario Bros. Wonder is going to be a phenomenon. I don't care that nobody is talking about the game now. Like the day it launches, you are going to see that this game is going to be a huge success.